Hello. Hello. So I am live here today in Leicester with Jamie Baxter, and I am producing the third, and at the moment we're actually producing the fourth trial batch of my new gin, The Only Way is Gin. So I've been researching and developing the recipe for the signature gin for my gin release coming out soon, and today is about putting that research into practice. Really, this is the second time that I've been in Leicester with Jamie, and putting that out and actually making some gin. So last time I was in Leicester, which I think was in June, was that June? I can't remember.
4 or 5 weeks ago.
About 4 weeks ago. Yeah, we made two gins then, and we've made one this morning, which was outstanding actually. We're having a go to see whether I don't know, to see whether we can beat that, to see whether we need to do anything further to it. So that's what we're doing here today. Finalising the recipe. I think today will be the day that everything gets finalised in terms of the actual gin. And we're actually in development now. So if you see down here, we have got the still is on, and it's cooking away. So very shortly we will have batch. When I say batch number 4, I mean trial batch number 4 of The Only Way is Gin, signature gin. So I will. I'm going to let Jamie introduce himself, because I did go live before when I was here, but unfortunately I didn't manage to save any of the lives. So not many of you got to see Jamie when I was here before. So I'll let Jamie introduce himself.
Hiya. So I'm Jamie Baxter. Through my business, Craft Distilling Services, we build distilleries for people all around the country, and as of 3 weeks ago we became an international company because we built our first distillery out in the south of France 3 weeks ago. So it's all very exciting. There doesn't seem to be signs yet of a slowdown in the excitement around gin. But here in Leicester we've got a couple of bars, and we're in the basement of one of them where we've got 45 Gin School. And this is where members of the public come to have a go at making their own gin. But more importantly for today, we use it as well for recipe development with our clients. So obviously it's lovely to have Nikki up here with us today, having to keep 1 metre away in these socially distant times. But
yes.
Yeah, so Nikki came up a month or so ago, and we made our first samples based on what Nikki had already described that she wanted, and the sort of botanicals and the flavour profile that she wanted in her gin. And unfortunately there was one botanical which I think is secret, so I can't talk about it, but we didn't have it here at that time. But we used something which sort of approximated to that same flavour, and we made a couple of samples, and they were fantastic actually. They were very, very nice. But now we're back here after the local Leicester lockdown, because we managed to get hold of the secret ingredient, and we just tried that this morning, and it worked exactly as we hoped it would work. It's made a really, really nice gin, and now we're actually just trying to ruin it by trying 1 or 2 other things just to see if it makes it even better. It's a little bit of trial and error this morning, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
I would be surprised if we do come up with anything better than what we've already come up with. I mean, we kind of knew what we kind of knew what the aim was today. We pretty much knew what we wanted to add in, take out. So there was a pretty much a fixed plan, wasn't there?
Yeah. And we cracked it, we think, first time this morning.
Yeah.
Now we're just trying a few different things just to see if they work or not. We'll see. So the still is on, it's busy bubbling away, and it's just coming up to boiling point, so in a couple of minutes time the spirit will start to flow. And we'll be able to see if it's had the desired effect, changes.
Okay, so I'll go back in on the stills again. So the stills in the gin school, so these are 2.5 litre stills,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah.
So once that has come up to boiling point, how long does that take to produce what then becomes a 70cl bottle of gin?
But that's part of their charm in some ways. But so they all tend to run at slightly different speeds, and it's not consistent what they run at. So when it starts to flow, it should take about 20. Oh, here we go. It's just started now. It'll probably be about 20 minutes before we collected the distillate. And what's coming off here is at about sort of somewhere between 80 and 85% ABV. So twice as strong as the finished product. So when we've collected all the distillate, we then just need to dilute it with purified water to bring it down to its bottling strength. Sorry, I can't resist it.
No, and actually tasting it when it comes off is, so that's at about 80.
That's probably at 85% ABV, so it's a hand sanitizer as well. But yeah, that's had the effect that we were looking for.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see the finished product to decide whether that's a good effect or not.
Yeah.
So the first bit that comes out, because the way gin works, basically alcohol is a solvent, and it's the oils that are in the various botanicals that go to flavour the gin. And each one of those botanicals has different oils in there, and they all have different boiling points. So the different oils and the different flavours come across at different times. So when you first start up like this, you get a lot of citrus notes in the gin. After 5 minutes or so, we'll start to get the juniper notes coming through.
Yeah.
Then we get sort of warmth and spiciness from coriander and some of the other botanicals that are in there. And then finally a little bit of earthiness from things like angelica root and so on. So the flavours come across at different times. So at tasting this first little bit, we can't actually tell what the complete product's going to taste like, and so, we have to wait until the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know that the changes that we've made, I know that they're already noticeable in this first little bit.
You can definitely taste a difference to what we've already produced. Yeah, amazing.
And this one's running a bit faster than the first one you did
Yeah,
this morning.
yeah, it is actually. It is. So, and this just goes to show how you can come to a gin school and produce your own 70cl bottle of gin within that. So in my gin school, for example, I'm going to be running 3-hour sessions, and you come along and you get your tour around the distillery and still produce your 70cl bottle of gin within the 3-hour timescale. Because these mini stills do produce the bottle of, or the distillate to produce your bottle of gin within that length of time.
Yeah. The thing that takes the time usually is choosing the botanicals and weighing them out. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's taken me 6 months to choose the botanicals for gin. So one of the questions that I got asked last night was, when I came here originally 4 or 5 weeks ago, did I have some set botanicals in mind, or were we kind of starting from scratch? So I did have quite a fixed idea of what I wanted to do. So there were when I started to do my research, I had 2 criteria that I wanted for the gin. One was that the gin absolutely linked back to Essex. So for those of you that have been following me for a while, you'll know that I've been talking about producing a gin from Essex. The name of the company is The Anyways Gin. So it needed to have a strong link back to Essex, and one of the botanicals has that real strong association with Essex, and that's one that I'm not revealing at the moment. I'm still not revealing it. And then the other criteria was that the gin said something about me as well. And that was actually the hardest to come up with than the link back to Essex. So, and that's the botanical that we've added in today. So and it did take quite a bit of research actually to come up with something that linked back to Essex as a whole county. And through all the research that I did, I've ended up coming up with lots of different ideas of other gins that I can make that come from different parts of the county, which are then possibly product of the future, because there's lots of different areas within Essex, lots of different beautiful areas of Essex that maybe are crying out to have a gin made after them, but it was quite difficult to come up with a kind of one botanical, if you like, that said something about Essex as a whole. So, but hopefully I've got it now.
And, it works. Tastes nice.
And then obviously the range of other botanicals to complement those two, and for it all to fit together. So yeah, and Jamie working his magic for me to come and say, this is what I want. Can we kind of make this all fit together? Oh, I'd like it to be a dry gin. Oh, I'd like it to be.
Yeah, we'd had several conversations, hadn't we, before you came up, and so we knew roughly what we were looking to create. And then you just sprung the surprise of one particular botanical on me at the last minute, which we didn't have. So, so hence the second day. But we've got it in now. It's lovely.
And Jamie made me think about, how's the gin mainly going to be drunk? Is it going to be drunk mainly in martinis? Is it going to be drunk mainly in gin and tonics? And I do think it will be mainly drunk in gin and tonics. So that's what we're producing, a gin for that will be great in gin and tonics. So that's the intention for me to walk out of here with the gin today. I can see some other questions that are possibly coming through, and I'm not sure that I am going to be able to read them on here. Let me have a look. This is really embarrassing because you're going to be able to see my face really close up. Is there a database of all gins and their ingredients? What's to stop you making a gin that's the same as someone else's without realising? Oh God, yeah. I've kind of asked that similar question this morning, haven't I?
And we talked about it this morning. So some brands are very open about what botanicals they use in their gins. Some are secretive about all of them and won't really talk at all. And some will talk about some of the botanicals and keep 2 or 3 secret or whatever. And there's actually nothing wrong with any of those. Yeah. But the point is, even if you know, let's say there's 10 botanicals in a particular gin that you like, even if you know those 10, that doesn't guarantee you're going to be able to copy it. It's the style of still that you have, obviously the ratio of the botanicals, the rate that it runs at, all of these will have an effect on the finished product. So it's just because you know the recipe doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to copy it. Tanqueray gin is one of my favourite gins. It's one of the greatest gins in the world. It only has 4 botanicals, so you think that would be very easy to copy. But I've tried a few times and it's not. It's a challenge, of course.
Yeah, there is a matrix online of some of the most famous gin recipes without quantities.
Yeah.
But to go on there and then try and replicate their gins would be a very, very, very difficult thing to do, I think.
Yeah, there are lots of online databases and so on. Some of them are not terribly accurate, it has to be said, but if you search long enough on the web, you can generally find what botanicals are included in pretty much every gin, but not the ratio.
No.
That's always secret.
No. Right, let's see if we've got any other questions. I think there might have been one. Is there one from Ben? It's a bit difficult to hear with the background noise, with the boiling.
All right.
We need a silencer on there. Right, I don't know if I missed another question. We've got a bit of a noisy still, I'm afraid. We've chosen a.
I've got my finger on it.
We've chosen a noisy one. This is So this is craft distilling. Okay. Any other questions? Well, much better. Thank you. Thanks for that. So Jamie, just tell us a little bit about how many gins you may have commissioned, how many gin distilleries you may have now built.
I think I've honestly lost track of it a little bit. I think I've built 44 distilleries now, so 43 in the UK and one in France.
Right.
And most of those distilleries are making gin, not all of them, but most of them are. And most of those distilleries make 3 or 4 different recipes. So I've got, I don't know, 150 different gins out in the marketplace now. So some of them I'm not allowed to talk about. Others, my name is on their website even, so I can talk about. But there's a fair chance if you like gin and you've been out and drinking gin in a bar somewhere and you've tried one of my gins without necessarily knowing it. It's all good fun.
Yeah. So I've been quite open about the fact that I'm working with Jamie because I suppose I took that stance because I thought, well, for me that was about me having some credibility because otherwise I've not come from a distilling background, so it was for me to kind of say, look, I'm working with the person who I consider to be the best, so and learning from the best because ultimately I will then distill on my own. Because otherwise, if I just set up on my own, I might be considered by people in the industry that I don't know, didn't know what I was doing. So for me, that's part of building my credibility. That was my reasoning behind it.
It's a funny industry, you know. There's there is quite a lot of secrecy associated with it, and particularly the licensing legalities of everything. It's not easy to find out the information because it's not. Well, it's written in English. It's not an English that anybody else uses. It's strange sort of language. So there are lots of pitfalls that you can fall into if you're not careful. Hopefully we're speeding the process up for you and preventing you potentially making these mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Definitely. Right, is that another question? So when can we expect the final product? Right, well, that's a good question. So obviously we've had a bit of a delay because getting back here with the local lockdown in Leicester. Back here today, I keep saying the end of the summer, which I know is really loose, isn't it?
Don't get tied down.
I've learned from Jamie. Don't give specifics away. And then I started to say September, which is equally as loose. I'm still saying September. Purely because there is an element of uncertainty around the business, not really around us now, because I think we will nail the gin today, but just because availability of consumables and stuff. Just in case there's any kind of other local lockdowns or anything else that hinders us.
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, getting the gin right is just part of the battle. You know, the packaging is it pains me as a distiller to say it, but getting the packaging and the design and the look and the feel right is just as important as what goes inside the bottle. And then of course at the moment bars and restaurants and so on are particularly interested in looking at new products because they're just struggling to get through with whatever business they can get at the moment, and then before we know it, Christmas will be upon us. So people are already looking at their products that they want for Christmas. So it's not, in fairness, it's not the greatest time to be launching a product, but there never is a good time. You just have to go on and get on with it.
No.
But there's lots to think about over and beyond just the liquid inside the bottle. So as you say, hopefully, I think we have cracked it, but hopefully you'll be happy as well when you tasted it in a week or so's time, and then that's one less thing to worry about. Yes,
I need to take it home, not drink it all, and obviously I'll drink it all myself, but not share it with everybody, and I need to try it in a week. So it does need to ideally it needs to sit and rest for a week to let everything kind of, how do you describe that?
Some of the
Kind
flavours just sort of mellow
together.
out a little bit. They meld together a little bit better as well. It becomes a bit less spiky, and it tastes actually slightly less alcoholic as well. But the first one we made today had a lot of lovely citrus flavours in there, and those citrus flavours will sort of mellow out, so it won't be quite as citrusy in a week's time. But, so we have to make allowances for that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
It does taste nice.
It does. I'm not sure. I think we have actually got the final product already. Okay. Any other questions? No. Right. I think. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Jamie? I can't think there's anything else we discussed previously. It looks like we've nearly got our required.
Yeah,
level.
we're nearly there. I might have to take my finger off this thing and start
Nearly
making
there.
all these things.
Okay. So, thanks for those of you that have joined us. I'm now going to attempt to save this and put it out later as a post, and I'll obviously let you know whether I won't be able to let you know today whether it's the final product, because I do need to have some of that self-restraint I haven't got much of, and wait and test it in a week and then decide. So I will, I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you posted on that. Okay, but thank you, and I will see you all soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.